Okay, so I guess we can start. So good morning or good afternoon, everybody. It depends where you are. I think that we are just shy of 1,000 people this morning on this call. So first, thank you for joining. And obviously, we're going to start first with saying that we hope that you are okay, that the people around you, family, friends, colleagues, everybody is healthy. I would like personally to believe that the world of tomorrow is going to be different than what we knew from the world from yesterday or before this situation that we have today. But as I'm based in France, it's not only because I think that some of the local customs, everybody knows that the French, they kiss one each other when they see. I think that this kind of stuff, they're going to disappear. So the impact psychologically on the day-to-day is going to be pretty heavy, but moreover, we're going to have an impact on the way that we work, the way that we collaborate, the way that we innovate, and all of that is going to create some areas where we're going to do some stuff different. We're going to spend the next 40 minutes or so to speak together about the 5 ways that Catia V5 users can achieve their business continuity. As you can understand, we are going to talk about how we can use the Catia V5 data on the 3D experience. We are going to be very cloud focused today. My name is Noam Ktalav. I'm the leader for the value partners community of our partners, which is the non-direct, one of the non-direct engagements that we had within the Dassault system. And with me, I have 2 notable people today. And in order to make my life easier, we decided that we are going to bring 2 Peters with us. So just for everybody to be very not confused. On the left, on the picture, you can see Peter Degelin. He's from Belgium. He is part of our Euro-North Cloud advocacy team. He has over 20 years of innovation in his blood with Dassault system, a real passionate of cloud, CAD, the PLM industry itself. On the middle, you can see Peter, another Peter Hawkins. He's from the UK. He joined us only a year ago, previously worked in different companies within the industry, passionate about promoting creativity, quality, efficiency, and a real passionate for Catia. So if everything is ready, we can start. We can go for the next slide. Perfect. So just for you to know where we are today, what we are going to see is something which is slightly, it comes to a picture of something which is slightly bigger of what we call today the business must go on program. We are not talking here about just a small marketing campaign. It is a set of bigger actions where we are taking today. We started to take with this epidemic that we currently have in the world. So we are going to look today on only part of it. We created this program which is spread around 8 different stories. Those 8 different stories, they are surrounding the 3D experience and the cloud solution that we have today, in order to demonstrate and to show the benefits of the solution that we have that can help the people in the current time that we have. I'm not gonna talk all about them. You can see some of them. So for example, the story number 4 is around the Biovia with the Science Cloud solution that we have. Story number 5 is dedicated for people that can consume learning when they are today blocked at home. Story number 6 is for people that they can use Home by Me, etc. We are going to be focusing on story number 2 today, which is how we are going to address our Catia V5 community, users community, and the ability for them to bring value for their day-to-day work using the authoritating tools, so Catia V5, and coupling it with the 3D experience platform itself. Obviously, everything is around the cloud. Next slide, please. So for that, we need first to see what is the heart of the story. We're going to tell you a small story today. So obviously, in the heart, we have Catia V5, but on top of that, 2 different things: the 3D experience platform itself and the cloud. So for that, 3 points that we need to put in mind. First of all, the 3D experience platform, it encompasses the Catia, the Enovia, the Simulia, the Delmia, the different brands that all of you know today. It brings everything together with our different industry solutions that we have today. Everything in a capability from Dassault system today to have a real continuity between different domains without any data conversion, taking all the information that you want into one platform that can encompass everything that you do. The second thing is how we deliver the connections between the different V5 users that we have. How can we do stuff like connect, collaborate, transform, reveal, innovate, all those stuff on the platform itself. And obviously the third piece is the cloud itself, the installation setup, which takes a minute. You just get an email, one email, activate, and you're up and running. In the end, if you're home, if you're in the office, as a designer, we have today the full breadth of tools to give you the possibility to continue to work, and not only to continue to work wherever you are, but also to increase your innovation level, to increase the way that you collaborate with other people, if they are physically around you or if they are in other areas. Next, please. Okay, so I will give in a second the microphone for the two Peters. In the end, we are going to talk how we can co-design wherever we are with Catia V5. We build a story here about 5 different points, about 5 different points about the collaboration, design, review, share, and make. We will see how it goes exactly. So we have the two Peters that are going to take the lead now, and then I'll be back to take some. We're going to take some questions in the end. If you are asking yourself if you can have the presentation, we are going to share the link with you. So you're going to have the recording so you can see it again. And with saying that, please, Peters, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Noam. So what we're going to do today is we're going to plant a bit of a thought or a scenario in your minds where I've been working in Catia V5 very much in a standalone environment, and what I'm doing is actually working out how I can connect that into the 3D Experience platform. So the sort of areas we're going to delve into, we're going to look at how we can collaborate between ourselves, and myself and Peter both did this collaboration remotely. We're going to look at how I built some product design. We're then going to look at how Peter reviews that design within the platform and how he shares his findings and his information. We're then going to make an actual physical part of this, and we're going to use the tools for 3D printing. So Peter has the facility to 3D print at home. So without further ado, Peter, if you'd like to just explain some of the roles that will be taken on board.
Yeah. So indeed, we're going to go for the collaboration bit, and that for that part, we will use an application that we call 3D Swim, or See What You Mean. So we'll start off with that, and then Peter's going to do the design with Catia V5, obviously. I will do the reviewing in the web using the 4 applications you can see there. So we will do some annotation inside, some markup. We will create an issue, and then eventually we will compare the different versions that we have. And then I will use a Catia 3D Experience. I will repurpose Peter's V5 data to do some nice images. And for that, I will use human design and live rendering, and then we will publish them again to the community with 3D Swim. And in the end, we will make use of our make service that comes with the cloud as well, that allows you to connect to different producers and get your products made. So first start, how do we start collaborating in the cloud? Now, once you have your cloud connection, once you have a cloud user, you will arrive in the last page that you visited on your last workday. And here you can see that I have gotten a message from one of my colleagues that is also part of my cloud environment, VJ, who shared the open COVID-19 community, which is a public community built by a person in Dassault, but available to all makers, companies, enthusiasts that want to find solutions for the COVID-19 crisis. And here you can see a lot of articles of people having good ideas. So I'm interested in building a face mask. And so I'm using the filtering mechanism, as you can see here, to filter out all the face and face shield and mask publications that have been done. So you can see that there are about 41 face shield articles. You can quickly have an overview on what, let's say, the topics are. And then you can scroll down further in the different articles, open them up, and so forth. There is also an ideation funnel in this community, or an ideation pipeline, and you can see in the ideation pipeline with the different dots, the different ideas that have a specific maturity state, and that's great about an idea. I again reuse the filtering mechanism here to filter out only the ideas that go about face shields and masks. And I hover over the different dots. The bigger the dot, the better the idea is liked. And I'm going to have a look at the ones that have a global consensus. And here you can see that somebody in Brazil has done a design of a face shield bracket. I'm going to have a look in the web how the 3D looks like. So everybody in the company that will have access to this community will be able to see the 3D objects like so. And obviously as well, we want to share the STL file so that people can print it at home. So I'm thinking this is a good starting point for our own face shield design mask. And so the next step would be to create, since I have my own cloud environment, to create my own community. And so you can see the starting point is a dashboard. You can see the V5 dashboard that is active now. I add an extra tab to it and I drag and drop our swim community or let's say informal community tool. And I will add a community of our own, which we will go, obviously we're going to call the face shield community. So I will add a small description to make sure that everybody understands what the community is about. And so the idea is to gather people to brainstorm on some new ideas for a printable face shield screen. So I created the community. Since I'm the only member for now, I will only have the ability to see the content. I will tweak a little bit the look and feel of the community, and I just drag and drop an image into it. I can activate the features of the community. I can give in what type of community we want to have, whether it's a secret or a public one, whether people can make wikis, post questions, make ideas, and so forth. I can tweak a little bit, let's say, the ideation pipeline. I can change the colors around and so forth. So the cloud is about configuring what is delivered out of the box. But you can see that you can do quite a bit of this. So now my community is configured, and the only thing I need to do now is to create a starting post. That's most of the time, again, an explanation of what the community is about and to make people enthusiastic to join in. So I will publish this post, put some description in there. I can put some images, some videos, whatever I need, and then I will publish it. Again, I'm the only member, so for now, I'm quite lonely in there, but I'm going to add, of course, Peter, because I know he is a great V5 designer. I know he has the tools, and I know he is interested in this topic. So now I'm adding Peter, and I'm also adding VJ because he linked me to the COVID-19 community from the start. So the people will be added. You can see Peter has a green check, meaning that he's already online in the cloud. I could even start a conversation right away in chat form through this community. So now our community, our secret, let's say private community is set up between the three of us, and we can go to the next step.
Yeah, so as you can see, I'm now logging into my platform. I can see I've got a notification from Peter. He's added me to the face shield community. And simply by picking on a link, I can then add this community into my environment. And I have been working away in the background because Peter gave me a bit of a heads up on what we needed to create. So I've done a bit of a first pass of the design. It's not complete by any means. It was just a quick look and feel to get some data up. I've grabbed some images of the physical design because I want to share that back to Peter. So we're using the platform here, and I'm now going to add or attach an image. So I've grabbed those previously, and we'll just put an image or one of the best images I could find up to the platform. And then when I press publish, that'll get published to both VJ and Peter within the platform. So after publishing it, Peter should end up getting a notification that I've had a go at the first pass of the design. You can see where it's come from. So this is like our chat community. So Peter, over to you.
Yeah, so I have immediately access to Peter's post. I can have a look at it. I see the image. I think it's a great idea. And I will promote this post into an ID. So then it comes into our ideation funnel with the different statuses, and people can start liking, not liking, and so forth. So I'm obviously going to do it in the face shield community that we just created. And so now you can see with the blue lamp that it became an idea. And then we can have a look to the different ideas through the ideation funnel. So this one is obviously a new idea. I'm gonna like it by clicking on the thumbs up, obviously, because I think it's a great idea. And here in the filter, you can see all the ideas that belong to our small community. Now, since it's a brand new one, only started just now, there's only one idea. I can hover over it and see, let's say, the summary of what the idea is about. And you can see who is liking it or not. Now, in the meantime, Peter has thought about his design, and he has some questions about the headband securing point. What I propose to Peter is to start uploading his 3D V5 models into the cloud, so I can then do a proper review based upon the 3D information. So I'm just having a look at what he is posting to me through this community. And
at this point, I was still local, wasn't I? I wasn't in any cloud. I was still on my local machine working in V5.
So the next step in the story is how can a Catia V5 user connect to the 3D Experience Cloud? And so the first bit we needed to do, of course, is to install the connection between the, let's say, the local Catia V5 installation and the cloud. And so for that, we need, of course, to have the right role. And in this case, it's the collaborative designer for Catia V5 role that will be assigned to you by, let's say, your cloud administrator. And once you have this role, you have access to an application which obviously is called Catia V5. You can add it to your favorite apps if you like. And then you will click on this application. Now the system will then discover that the integration is not yet installed. So you need to first go through the installation procedure. And we wanted to show you this because it's quite easy to do, and anyone can do this. So the first part of the installation will be the launcher, and I wanted to show you this bit as well because it's, let's say, a main piece or a main small tool that will allow you to connect or to manage the connections between any, let's say, local install and the Dassault cloud. So the launcher is installed. You only need to do this once. And then what you can do is, let's say the installation procedure continues, and you will get into the proper, let's say, Catia V5 integration installation. So the launcher is now launching this installation package. The download will start automatically, and you will see it popping up right away. So we did, let's say, a live registration of the installation procedure. So you just need to tell where you want to install it, click next, and then the installation will start. The package will be around 160 MB. You can download it obviously from the Dassault servers. If you have lots of clients to install, you could, let's say, industrialize the installation procedure a little bit more and get the data localized on a network drive, for example, and then install from there. In this case, since Peter is working from home, he did the installation from the web, and you can see below that now the installation is done, and so he can connect now from his Catia V5 client to the 3D Experience Cloud. Up to you,
So
Peter.
as you can see, straight away we've got a 3D Experience menu added to our standalone Catia V5. So we've now got access to the platform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my assembly of my face shield, or the face mask that we've got so far. You'll notice that there's a little yellow star on each object. That means that it's not linked to the 3D Experience database. So what we're going to do now is perform a save with some options. I can see I've got 3 new objects there to be put into the database. And before we put it in there, I'd like to create myself a bookmark. And this is where we can store information of how to find the parts we're working on. So we're going to put a bookmark under the V5 data. I mean, we could call this the face shield project. So we'll just add that information in. So it just means that I can come back and easily find that information. There's no need to go into files and folders. So we're adding that to the bookmark. One other thing to mention as well, that we're going to allow something called a background save, which means that once we activate that save, this assembly has been locked, so I can't change it. But we'll see in the bottom right-hand corner, there's some green progress bars. And what that means is it's now uploading. So we can still carry on and work in the background whilst we're uploading our data to the platform. So in this case, if we want to create a drawing, we can simply go into the drawing functionality, and we can see that in the background, the mask is updating and it's now completed. So the lock icon has disappeared. So once we're into the 3D Experience platform, we're able to gather information from it directly. So we can see a highlight there, it's revision A. And we can even look at the properties that have been put into the 3D Experience platform. So it tells us who stored it, when it was stored, what the revision is. So if we want to get some traceability, and it'll even tell us which extension, in this case, Catia V5. So from here, I'm going to hand you to Peter to tell us a little bit more about the platform and what that can bring.
Yeah, so one of the interesting features as well that come with the Catia V5 integration is the access to part supply. So part supply is actually a library of standard parts. So you can see we have around 30 million standard parts in there. People can have access to categories of parts from within Catia V5. You can just click on one of the categories and then get access to the, let's say, the parts right away. Or you can do a search, of course. You can search by country, by category, by provider, by publisher, and so forth. So what I want for our design is a plastic clip. So I just type clips. I'm going to look in the fasteners, and then I find something that looks like something I can use. I can add it to my list to compare with other selections I might find, or other parts I might find. There is a configurator tool in there, so I can choose the right size. So I'm going to go for 6mm one. There is a similarity search that is automatically, and then you can compare the two parts that you find, and you will see the differences in blue. You will see also percentage of, let's say, similarity in there. And then I can just simply insert with one click on the button this part into my V5 assembly. So you have the part in the assembly now. Obviously, it's a new part. I can use the compass to change the position a little bit, or to put some assembly constraints in there. And there you go. So this is also a great added feature that comes with the cloud integration with Catia V5. So we'll go to the next step. So Peter has done his design in Catia V5. It's now in the cloud, and the big advantage of that, of course, is that I, as a, let's say, a project manager, I can then create some reviews in the cloud without having access to any 3D tool. And that's what we're going to show you in this step here. So I start off again from my dashboard that has two tabs, the user communities, private communities, and I'm going to add a Face Shield project data tab. Now, the idea here is to gather all the information concerning, or all the data concerning our Face Shield project. And for that, I'm going to do a search in the database, a simple search like you do in any, let's say, database. I search for mask. You can see that I have two posts, and I have a Catia v5 assembly that sits in this collaborative space here. And then I can pin this search into my Face Shield project data tab. Now, the interesting part of this is that it's a search, meaning that whenever new data arrives, it will automatically be added to this search result. I again can further drill or filter my search results if necessary. And then to, let's say, explore even more my mask data, I'm going to add what we call the Product Explore widget into the dashboard. I can move around a little bit my widgets so that I have a better organization. I can even fit them automatically so they fill the screen. And then I just need to drag and drop from the search into the Product Structure Explorer, which will give me on the right-hand side the 3D visualization of the design. And on the left-hand side, I will have an overview of the product structure. You can obviously move around the columns so that you have access to the relevant, let's say, attributes there. I can even go into the settings of my widgets. I will make it a little bit bigger so you can see what I mean. I will add some thumbnail displays there. I can add any attribute that is available in the platform. I can change the order of things. So any of these widgets can be, let's say, customized to the user needs so that he gets the right information at the right moment. So here you can see our revision A of the mask. I have a 3D visualization, and so this will be my start point whenever I want to go back to this project data. So next, I will add a review tab, and in this review tab, I will add an application that we call 3D Markup. So I will drag and drop the widget in there, and now I can make this a little bit bigger, go back to my Face Shield project data, and drag and drop the data into my review. So on top of the 3D visualization, what we can do now is we can start adding some comments to do a proper review based upon the V5 data created by Peter. So I'm going to start by creating a markup object. And the great thing about markup objects is that they will not touch the original V5 data. So it's going to be, there's going to be a link, of course, between this object and the Catia v5 assembly. So my markup is created automatically. I have a first slide, and there are a couple of changes I want Peter to do. So the first one is that I want people to be able to build this device or this product easily at home. So we're going to do some small enhancements. So you can see the diameter here of this plastic clip is 7 millimeters, which is not really the right one, because what we want to do is we want the hole diameter to match the standard hole puncher size, which is 5.5 millimeters. The second modification that Peter needs to do is to adjust this offset here a little bit. So again, to make sure that we can easily punch in the holes in the transparent shield with a standard tool. So I'm going to add a picture of the standard tool that I'm going to use. So this is the hole puncher I've put in my slides measuring device so that to make clear what Peter needs to do. And then a third modification. So again, I'm using the markup slide to explain what I mean. So I want to have people a couple of options to fix this part to the face, and so I describe what I think Peter should do. So last but not least, I'm going to create or add a new tab, which is the Lifecycle tab. For that, I'm going to add a product structure editor widget. We have a couple of other widgets that would do the same job. And in here, I will drag again my assembly. So we'll move it from our face shield project data into the Lifecycle tab. And what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare Peter's work so that he can right away work in a new revision. So obviously the maturity state and the revision is important information for me. So I tweak a little bit the position of the different columns. And you can see now that the mask itself and the two parts are in work, and we are in revision 8.1. So what I'm going to do now is from within the web as a project manager, I'm going to put the top assembly and the headband in frozen so that this data is a little bit secured. And at the same time, I'm going to create a new revision. So the web interface allows a project manager to prepare the work for the designers so that they only have to focus on the real design work. So now you can see that we have a revision A and B for the assembly and the headband. And I can even put them side by side in my 3D view so I can see the differences if there were already. Now, of course, here are no differences because the one is a copy of the other. So once my preparation is done, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share these two tabs to Peter so that he does not have to lose time in figuring out what he needs to do or to search for the information. So I'm starting to type Peter's name. There's an auto-completion. I can type in a small message. Look, Peter, I want to share this with you. Can you have a look? There are a couple of modifications that I propose to do. And I'm going to also share the Lifecycle tab so that Peter sees immediately that I already created the revision B for him and he can do the job in the revision B. So you can see that the tabs have been shared, and now it's up to Peter to start to do some proper design work based upon my remarks.
Okay, so if we pick it up from the design perspective, you'll notice I've got some notifications come through to my platform. And the first thing I can see is that Peter has shared the review tab with me. And we're going to simply select that tab and we can pin that to our dashboard. So in this case, it's going to be my home dashboard. I can then also see the information that Peter shared. So there's a few issues I need to correct. Before I dig into those, I'm going to pin the Lifecycle tab as well. And this is a great tool for being able to create your lifecycle, your snapshots in time. So rather than doing save as on a file, you're physically configuring it from here. So I'm going to have a little look at the review to see where I've gone a little bit wrong. Obviously that diameter, as we mentioned before, we need to change that so that we use a standard hole punch. So I'm just taking a little note of that, and then we'll jump to the next one, which is obviously to move that acetate A4 sheet downwards. And again, everything was built around that mindset that we'd have a standard piece of clear transparency sheet that we would use with a standard hole punch. And then finally, I need to go on, evaluate and see about putting some cool location lugs on the side of the headband. So as Peter mentioned before, just refreshing my mind on that one, he's already done the life cycle, the hard bit for me. So he's created me a framework, if you like, already. So hasn't been in Catia or anything, it's just been done within the platform. And I can see that I've now got a second variant or a second version that I can start working on. It's now moved to the revision B, so that's the numbering system we're using. The head hasn't been changed because that's a standard part. And we're now going to simply get hold of that data from within the cloud and drop it straight onto the Catia V5 icon, and that'll now launch that assembly and download it, and I'm now working with that data within Catia V5. We've also got the ability to lock things off. You'll notice it asks me about reserving the files, but the file I'm going to work on is my headband. I tend to like to work down at a part level, so on its own. So I'm now opening that. And before I change anything, it's going to ask me again, do I want to reserve this? Again, because it's myself and Peter working on this project, I don't really need to worry about that at the moment. And we now need to go and have a look at those attachment points of where the shield actually fits onto the headband. And I've grabbed a nice little parameter here, so it's very easy to find the changeable things in Catia. So we simply make that change quite quickly. We can also switch back to our assembly, and we can see the face shield is looking okay, just checking that out. And if we go into the platform, I'm just trying to remind myself of what value I need to drill in to move the shield down. So we'll just literally go into our clear screen, and I've got a top of shield plane that we can literally tweak and adjust and get us to just pull it down in line with the headband. So that was my sort of first pass at after an initial review with Peter, and I was just double checking. There was one other thing I nearly forgot, and that is the location point. So here, the ethos is we build this from a 3D printing plate upwards. So everything wants to be mounted off of that flat plane. And here I'm just literally playing around, having a look to see where I can place that and making sure that it is flat with the base plane. And then I can just simply add some radiuses and make it look pretty cool. So it's all smooth edges for the user. I like to spin a lot. It's quite cool. I think it's an OCD habit you get. And then we go back to the main assembly. We can see, obviously, those changes have been implemented. And I just literally update the graphics here with the platform, and I can see that data so that even a non-Catia user can gain access and visually see the progress of our design. Which I think is coming on nicely.
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. So how can we then do some sharing of the data that Peter has created and solve some further issues using making use of the 3D Experience Cloud? So the first thing, I'm logged in again in the platform, and what I see, I have a notification from our friend Vijay, who is also involved in our small project, signaling me that there is an interesting study done by some very bright simulation people in the COVID-19 community, that they've done a sneeze analysis, and he suggested me to have a look at it. So let's have a look. So you can see here, they've used simulation tools, Exaflow from Dassault Systèmes, and they figured out that these face shields are great, but without, let's say, a covering between the shield and the forehead, it's not really very secure. So they've even analyzed it a little bit further. They've tested a couple of designs. So you can see the open top and the flap top, the cover top, and then the wide cover top. And the analysis they've done, if you read closely in the article, that the wide cover top is actually the best solution. So that makes me think, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start discussing with Peter about this. So the easiest way to do is to share this link with Peter, of course. And by the way, I'm going to subscribe to the content, so anytime that somebody makes a remark or adds some new information, I will be notified by that. And I'm going to share this article with Peter. So Peter will receive the information, and then he can start thinking about perhaps designing as well a top flap to our design. Now, while Peter is getting notified and reading my let's say my ideas about it, what I can do as well is I can simply open up the first or the second revision that Peter did with the live rendering application, which is actually part of the Catia 3D Experience portfolio. And what you will notice is that I can simply select the Catia V5 data in the platform, click on the live rendering application, and then automatically the Catia V5 data will be opened in Catia 3D Experience. So no need to convert or migrate this data. You can simply open up the native V5 data. And by the way, you will see on the level of the shape container that there is a stop sign indicating that this data is, let's say, mastered by Catia V5. So Peter will be able to modify, and I am having access to Catia 3D Experience, will be able to repurpose the V5 data downstream. So one of the downstream applications I want to do is to create some nice renderings. And so for that, I open up a human or a mannequin, and I will drag the face shield into this human so that we can put it, let's say, in a more realistic setting. And I will position, of course, the face shield mask with the classical positioning tools I have. And I can even connect the face shield to the mannequin's head. So we call this a product connection. So we'll select the product I want to connect, and then the bone or the head I want to connect it to. So that's done. And what's great about these mannequins is they come with the full kinematics. So you can have different postures, and you can even move, for example, the point the person is looking at, so that the face shield will follow automatically. So this allows us to build a nice, let's say, realistic setting. The one thing that is missing, of course, is an ambience, and an ambience is actually let's say, a 360 image with some light source information in it. You can add existing ones, or let's say the default ones that come with the software, but you could also put in your own, and there are millions of them available in the web. And then it's just about generating quickly a nice rendering. Now, you've seen that I only did a couple of iterations here, 16 to be precise, and I used some artificial intelligence to let's say to do the calculation more efficiently. Once the rendering is done, then we want to share this with the colleagues. So I'm going to share this right away in our face shield community. And so if I go back to the community, you will see that the post has arrived right away. So you can click, or people can start clicking on the rendering, download it, and comment on it. So I'll just quickly make a second one. I'll change the position of the person's head. I can change the ambience, the light sourcing, and so forth. And I generate a second rendering based upon Peter's initial idea. And then we can share that again in our face shield community. If you want to make it a little bit more private, you could share it as well in the conversation, so that not everybody in the community will see it, but it becomes, let's say, the topic of a more private conversation. So I just do a refresh, and there you can see this, the second image that is now available to the colleagues. All right.
So while Peter's been busy doing that, I got the results about the face shield and needing to add some top protection. And what I've done is created another version of that. And I've actually shared that information with Peter to go and print it. So we wanted to be able to print this on a 3D printer. We wanted it to snap onto the headband and take all the support from the front band. So that was kind of my design brief. So Peter actually did print this. So we can go on with that next and see how it went.
So here, what I wanted to demonstrate you as well is that everything you do in the web can be, of course, done on a mobile device. In this case, I've done it on an iPad. And I started printing the clip on top, and I noticed that there were some issues. So I'm making use now of our issue management tool that is, by the way, part of the standard, let's say, apps that come with the integration. And there is an issue with it, with the thickness. It's too thin, it breaks, and it's not a standard thickness for printing devices, so we need to make it at least 1.5 millimeters. That's my recommendation. So in an issue, you can decide or you can indicate what the 3D file the person needs to have a look at. So this is the reported against. So I'll just simply drag and drop it with my finger into the reported against, let's say, placeholder, and then I can indicate who has to take care of this issue. So in this case, it's a design issue. So again, Peter is going to have a look at it. And then, of course, we want to, let's say, document a little bit what the changes should be. So I will just activate the camera of my mobile device. I will take a picture of the crack that I noticed. By the way, this was a really quick print, so let's say the tolerance was not that great. And so automatically from my mobile device, I can upload the image. I can put some comments. I have a history that I can see who is doing what, and I can put the issue into work. Peter will get then a notification of the issue through the notification center, and he can start trying to solve the issue. By the way, these issues could also be created from a 3D markup, the one that we've done in the beginning, so that you have all the markup information right away in the issue. And the resolution of an issue could be done as well with the change action, so to formalize a little bit the process. So
okay, so yeah, I've got another version of the top of the face shield to put into place, and I'm simply going to replace my clip-on shield because we've got a second revision, so revision B, and I'm now going to load that into Catia V5 simply by drag and dropping. And I'm going to start working on some cool features. So I've thought about some stiffening ribs I thought I could put underneath it. We can also thicken the material as well. So if I just jump into the actual file itself, I've even put some highlight lines analysis on there. And I'm literally using an existing rib structure and copying it and pasting it straight back in. Then updating the design, and as we look on the underside, I've put some stiffening ribs. I think we adjusted the snap fit as well so that it worked nicely. We've got some fillets and radiuses on the acetate sheet as well, so trying to alleviate the sharp edges. Again, that gets stored in the platform and saved. Yeah,
that's done. Yep,
pretty much there.
So yeah, Peter can now do a refresh again of his widget. And drag and drop.
I'll go to the issues as well and explain I have actually fixed the issue that you gave me to fix.
Yeah. So what's really nice about this one is that you can literally drag and drop the resolution part into the issue to have full traceability, and you can also review and complete the issue from there. And you have a small pin on the 3Ds to indicate where the issue actually sits,
which is pretty cool.
So yeah, and now finally how to make. So obviously the idea of our face shield was to print it or to make it printable at home, so that's what I did. I cut my face shield, the screen, I used my puncher device, and then obviously we have the result there. But you can do it also in a more, let's say, industrial way. And so here I will generate an STL file from within Catia 3D Experience to the 3D drive. And the 3D drive is, by the way, a feature that comes as well with the cloud. It's a sort of Dropbox that allows you to communicate with people that might not have access to your cloud environment. the main advantage of the 3D drive is that people will be able to not only get access to the information, but also visualize the 3D information. So there is a viewer included within this functionality, and you can see here that I'm viewing the STL file, but also Catia V5, SolidWorks, IPT files, STEP, IGES, Catia V4 molds even can be viewed with this. So now I switch to my 3D, to the Marketplace Make service. And the Make service again comes with the cloud and is actually a place where we gather all makers, and I'm filtering them down to makers that sit in my neighborhood, so in Belgium, the United Kingdom, perhaps some in Sweden. And all these makers have some, let's say, machines to their availability. They have some characteristics that you can see here summarized. I will select one of the makers, and then I will select my 3D file that I want to, let's have a quote for. You can see that there is an automatic analysis of our object in terms of volume, surface, and let's say the global dimensions. There is also a geometry quality that is in progress. We'll see later on, and there's also manufacturability analysis that we can do. So this company has a 3D additive, let's say, capabilities. They can do it in composites and in plastics. Obviously, we're not going to do this in composites, but in an ABS plastic. And I'm gonna have a look at the, let's say, the geometry quality that has been done in the meantime. You can see what quality checks have been done, and I have green checks everywhere, so no problem. Peter has done a great design here. If there might be a problem, we can do some annotations and we can explain what is perhaps, let's say, relevant information for the guy or the company that needs to produce this. So we can save the annotation together with our request. We can have a look at the manufacturability information, and we see that everything is great again. So rest us to select the color, to put in a tolerance. It's not that precise, so 0.3 is okay for us. And we will do a request or a request for a quote for 100 parts, and I want to have it today or and delivered next week. So then I just need to send the request for quote, and the great thing, of course, is you can do multiple requests, and then you have in the My Requests tab on top of the screen an overview of all the requests you've done, and you can pick the right one. So up to you, Peter.
Real quick summary then, what we've done is we've looked at how we can take Catia V5 from a standalone implementation. So if you're working from home using a platform, using a collaborative space, being able to communicate on a chat basis and upload images. We then went into the design side where we put our assembly into the platform and we could start managing things like lifecycle. We were able to do a design review on the platform live between the two of us. We weren't working together. We can use complementary roles like rendering within the 3D Experience platform by sharing out that information. And then finally, we actually went and made the product using a real 3D print. And I think Peter will model for us now the actual physical mask that he's had.
Yeah, I will do that. So this is the end result.
Worked.
Yeah, and the clip-on worked just fine. So the great thing about, let's say, our experience is that we were sitting in our homes, commuting through the platform, using our own, let's say, specialities. Peter is a great designer. I know the platform very well, and in a couple of hours, we just built something, and the next day it was printed. So that was really a great experience for ourselves as well.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can we? Okay, so first of all, before the promise of the 3D Experience platform itself, we promised two passionate Peters, and I think that from that perspective, we delivered well. So thank you both for that. Very quickly, as we said, this is part of a bigger program that we have, this initiative itself, what we have seen to put things in context a little bit more commercially. So we spoke about design, collaborate, share, make, and review. You can see the three roles that we use for that. So the first role was the collaborative design for Catia V5. This is your connector between your author and Catia V5 to the cloud itself. Things like issue management that we've seen aside is part of it. The second one is the business and industry innovation role, which is the basic role that gives you the possibility to connect to the cloud. So that's to benefit from the different dashboarding and all the different functionalities that we have seen, including, for example, the issue management. But this initiative includes other roles. You can see the project planner gives you the possibility to manage different projects if you want to do that. Different roles of simulation, 3D masters, etc. The reason why we're showing all of that, can you please go for the next one, is that at this moment today, with these initiatives, we currently give you the possibility to benefit from a special, we can say, something that comes with that. So if you want to try to jump into it, you have the possibility to have a 50% from the first quarter and 25% from the other one. So everything that you have seen here can come on top of your current Catia V5. For that, you can contact us, or you can contact your resellers. They will be more than happy to do that. Next, please. And just before we're going to open for questions. So a couple of words just for the conclusion. What we've seen here. First, we believe that the platform is the future. It gives a broad possibilities for everybody, including today the people that are using Catia V5, to go beyond their standard design task. What we've seen today is just not how you're creating parts and assemblies, etc. within Catia V5. It gives you the possibility to take your design furthermore with different things, with different type of collaboration, with the possibility to put everybody on the same platform. And obviously, we believe that it is in the heart of any ideation of collaboration today. The second part, which is innovation, a couple of things for that. First, you have to remember that today we are using a 3ds outscaled, which is really one of the best in class. Everything is hosted within their cloud infrastructure. It's really best in class for what we are doing from a security perspective, from operations, etc. 10 days ago, we released a 3D Experience 2021X release. We believe it also has some areas which are a real breakthrough in what we're doing. We put a lot of efforts in order to change a little bit everything that we're doing with this release, the way that we are looking on the different industry solutions, the way that we're looking on our brands, on our users, on the designers. So everything which is around that. It's something which is from innovative perspective of the cloud itself. It's the next rule. And the third thing is continuity. For that, there is I'm looking on continuity in different angles. First of all, continuity from the fact that you are currently using your Catia V5 and you can take it and continue the functionality in the context of the 3D Experience platform. That's the first thing. Continuity from the fact that the current situation around the world is something that you can benefit from our 3D Experience cloud in order to create continuity, to continue to work wherever you are, even if you're using Catia V5. So if you're in the offices, if you're at home, wherever you are, we can do that. And also from a security investment, we appreciate the business that you are doing with us. So if you are using your Catia V5, it is secured, you can benefit and go furthermore. And this is why we have put this initiative with the different conditions and terms that you see today. With saying that, I will thank the two Peters. I will thank both of you, and we are going to open for questions if there are. I think they're going to go through the chat, so all of you. By the way, if we are because of the time constraint, we already over the time. We're going to take a few questions, and then the one that we are not going to answer, we are going to contact you, the people who've asked them, and we're going to chase you to give you the answer, so no question will remain unanswered. Okay. But Peter, do you want to start with the questions or?
Yes, so let me just quickly go through the couple of questions that we've got. So obviously the first question is, what are the supported Catia V5 levels? So most of the levels are supported. There is a compatibility matrix that is online available. You will have access through this, and I will definitely provide a link. to all the release levels, the service spec levels, and the functionality that they provide. So Dassault is continuously providing new functionality. So the higher the release you go, the more functionality you probably get. But so the compatibility matrix is available through let's say the classical links on the 3ds website.
There is a question. There is a question that I understand that it was have been put a few times. Yes, you do need to install locally your Catia v5.
Yes, indeed. Of course, it's still a local, let's say, a file-based system that needs to be installed locally.
And you can still work locally as well once you have connected to the platform. So,
yeah. And then another question I see is, I'm a supplier to different OEMs. That use different levels of Catia v5. Is it possible to use different releases at the same time? So yes, it is perfectly possible. So what you can do, of what you've seen in the beginning of the presentation, is that this launcher, which is actually the link between, let's say, our cloud platform and the locally installed applications, is based upon a registry key. So normally it's the last, let's say, installed Catia v5 release that will be launched. But you can tweak this information a little bit and even put in some sort of batch file that gives you the choice to which level of Catia v5 needs to be started. Of course, you need to stay into the, let's say, the compatible levels of Catia v5 with the 3D Experience Cloud. And then next question: do we still have time?
Well, I think we can pick another one and then we can close. Yeah.
Hold on. So one question is, once the data is in the cloud, can I get it out and send it to somebody who does not have cloud access? So of course, you remain in a file-based system, so you will always have, let's say, a work or a cache directory you work from. So the information will be exchanged between the cloud and this directory. And so once the files are localized, then you can obviously use whatever mechanism to exchange with whoever that is not in the cloud. So you have in Catia v5 send to or a save management and these kind of mechanisms. So yes, the answer is no problem. The data is still available like it used to be in the past, and you can send it to anyone that is not connected to the cloud. By the way, you also have, like said in the demonstration, the 3D drive, which is a base cloud functionality that in which you can upload your Catia v5 data. And beside the fact that let's say the receiving person will get a link to the data, he or she will also have the possibility to visualize the data from within the web without having the need for even to have Catia v5 or another 3D tool installed. So
okay, I think Peter, I think we're going to stop here. We are way over the time. So
okay.
First of all, thank you for everybody who joined. That's the first thing. Second thing, please keep safe for you, for the people around you. I think it's the #1 priority today with what we are going through. Thank you for the organizers. So Joanne, Elise, Maya, you two, Peters, obviously, and the rest of the people. There is quite a lot of people who are working days and nights to make sure that this is happening. So I'll take the opportunity to thank them. We are going to share the link. We are going to make sure that we are answering some of the questions that we're going to get. We didn't even have time to go through all of them. Have a great day, and that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.